It's about mentality. So for me, every day going through the grind and doing something that sucks every day, not only is it good for me physically, it's even better for me mentally. So to kind of get out of that weekend mentality, training physically.
All right, here we are, episode 3 of Growth and Development. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed, liked, comment, and has been sharing our content, our videos, our shorts, and has been following us on Instagram. We appreciate all of the support and all of the love, and we appreciate everyone that has been continuing the dialogue. We have had some really interesting conversations behind the scenes with a couple of different people that have been following growth and development, and they've contributed so much and added so much to what we might have already thought about or might have thought we knew about, and they have given us so much more insight and more perspectives. And we just encourage you to continue to comment. We encourage you to continue to message us, and if you see us in person, definitely don't shy away from telling us your thoughts on whatever episode. We've had some intense conversations so far. We've talked about parenting, we've talked about fatherhood, we've talked about an identity crisis. So today is no different. Today we're going to talk about self-discipline. So today's episode was actually motivated by a recent conversation that my son and I had. We had this conversation at the end of a workout. And might I remind you, this is after a 10-hour shift in a manufacturing plant. So hard labor, heavy duty work. And I get out of this 10-hour shift and immediately we get into a full body calisthenic workout. We're doing push-ups, shoulder taps, push-up, hip tap, push-up, knee tap, push-up, feet taps, and we went into 50 burpees. Now, if you know burpees, they're no joke and they're nothing to play with. So if you don't know burpees, definitely get to it because you deserve to have this full body workout and this full body experience because it's great for you. So at the end of this routine, my son asked me, how do you motivate yourself? Because it's really hard for me. And when he asked me this question, I was honest with him and I told him, there's nothing that I can say to you. There's nothing that I can share with you that I personally do in my own life that will make it any less difficult or that will make it any less hard for you to motivate yourself on the days that you don't feel like doing it. And that's the flat out truth. So don't expect to listen to us here on this podcast. Don't expect to listen to anybody on any podcast or to watch some video or some short or some reel and think that you're going to get motivated just because somebody else is doing it and saying it. The importance of motivating yourself is not expressed enough because we lean so much on external influences that we really need to stop for a moment and self-reflect and see how internal is your motivation. Because when everything else goes away, are you gonna dig deep? Are you going to get yourself out of bed in the morning and go to work? Are you gonna take off your work clothes and put on your gym clothes and drive to the gym even though you just did a commute to work and a commute back and you just got out of whatever boots you have on or scrubs you have on or whatever it is that you do for your field of work and go and work out? Are you going to meal prep? Are you going to drink more water? Are you going to drink healthier drinks? What are you going to do in your idle time, in your spare time? If you don't have the kids and there's no excuses and you have the sitter or whatever the case might be that's been keeping you from starting your LLC or going to the gym or starting your podcast, whatever it is that's been keeping you from doing that, if you have that day and you have that moment and you have the opportunity to do it, are you motivated? Are you in that moment going to make the decision to follow through with what you've been talking about doing? That is a question that only you can answer. Your spouse can't answer it. Your mom and dad can't answer it. The influencer that you've been watching can't make that decision for you. This podcast can't make that decision for you. You have to make that decision for yourself. So with that being said, what I like to tell myself is that even if I do the bare minimum, whether it's something toward the podcast and it's just editing a little bit that day, if it's working out and I just do 50 push-ups or 100 push-ups instead of a full-fledged workout, if I go to work, if I read a couple verses in the Bible, or if I read a chapter or two in a book, whatever it is that my goals are, if I even do the bare minimum, that's more than if I do zero. That's more than if I don't do anything at all. So that motivates me to at least give some effort, even if it's not a full-fledged half an hour into this book, even if it's not a full-fledged workout for the next half an hour or an hour, well, at least in half an hour for sure. But if it's not an hour or more, then it's more than if I gave nothing. So that alone should motivate you. There's no podcast, there's no influencer, there's no reel, there's nothing on TikTok that's going to make it any less difficult on the days that you don't feel like getting it done, that you don't feel like getting out of bed, that you don't feel like putting on some workout clothes after you take off your scrubs or after you take off your work boots. There's nothing, there's no video, there's no book, there's no music. In this culture, in Western culture, and in this day and age, especially in my generation, we lean on a lot of external influences. And I think that we just need to self-reflect for just a moment and really dig deep and see if we have what it takes in ourselves, without the music in our AirPods, without listening to some podcasts, without watching some reel, and think to ourselves and ask ourselves that difficult question of, do we have the will to get it done? Are we willing to get it done when it's raining outside? Are we willing to get it done when all of our friends are outside, but we need to study that night, or we still need to hit the gym, or you've been talking about starting this LLC and you still haven't done all of the research that's required in order for you to make that initial investment, or you haven't been creating that budget that you need to have in order to make that initial investment in that LLC that you want to start. Are you willing to make those sacrifices? Are you willing to delay your gratification? These are really tough questions that we have to ask ourselves, and no influencer can answer the question for you. No podcast, even this great growth and development podcast, can't answer the question for you. You have to answer that question. Your spouse can't answer it for you. Your mom and dad can't answer it for you. You have to look yourself in the face, in the mirror, at your reflection, in the eyeball, and ask yourself, eyeballs, in the eyeballs, ask yourself if you have the will. Are you willing to get it done? Do you have the will to get it done? Do you have the willpower to get it done? This is what I shared with my son. I told him that on the days that I don't have all of the energy in the world, on the days that I don't feel like getting out of bed, on the days that I'm driving home after a 10-hour shift and I want to take these boots off and jump in the shower and relax and don't put nothing back on my feet, those are the days where I remind myself is all it takes is a little bit of effort to continue to be consistent. Consistency is key. Now, I have some great men around me. I have some great brothers around me that they continue to inspire me and motivate me, and that's great. They tell me that consistency is key, and that's awesome. But if it doesn't resonate, if I don't take their encouragement, those words of encouragement or those words of affirmation, and I don't embody it and I don't say them to myself, then it means nothing. It's gonna fall by the wayside, and I'm never going to achieve my goals. So when you get out of work and you just throw yourself on the couch and you're not gonna jump in the shower and change, and you're living a certain way that you know is not up to your standard, is not, you're actually falling below your standard of living. If you immediately go to smoke your vape, if you immediately go to pop that bottle of wine or finish that bottle of wine from last night, if all you're doing is passing the time until you have to clock back in, I think this is the moment that you need to take and really be real with yourself and be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? Am I going to achieve my goals if I continue to live the way that I am living? Or do I have to make different decisions in order to put myself in alignment with those goals? See, being in alignment with your goals is so important. And the reason why it's so important is because people say the most outlandish things when you ask them, what do you want to do with your life? I want to be a doctor. Really? Or I want to be an airplane pilot. Or I want to be, we'll do something, we'll reel it in just a little bit, because this is a common one in our community now, is I want to be a truck driver, a Class A CDL truck driver. Well, have you signed up for the classes? Are you still smoking weed? Are you still drinking all the time? Have you been studying the manual? What are you doing to actively be pursuing this goal? What are you doing to follow up on the things that you're talking about doing? See, that's the big thing. My son, he wants to do all of these amazing things. But when I see him there and he's playing on the PS5, as soon as he gets out of school, or he's been playing on the PS5 all day, and then if it's not the PS5, then he's on TikTok and he's scrolling. Now, this is a 16-year-old, but I know a lot of my peers that are in their late 20s and mid 30s, some of y'all even in your early 40s, who have the same habits as my 16-year-old. And you're not getting anywhere closer to your goal by passing the time in this way. Idle time is the devil's playground. He's gonna have his way. He's gonna drive a wedge between you and whatever it is that you want to do in your life. Now, I could actually literally be talking about the spiritual devil that the people that are into spirituality know about, or I could be talking about whatever it is, whatever your kryptonite is, that's keeping you away from achieving what you want to achieve. So today's not necessarily a conversation that you and I have to have, or me and any one of my people here at Growth and Development, or you have to have with any of us here at Growth and Development. Today's a conversation that you have to have with yourself. And it's a conversation about self-motivation. Are you willing to have the conversation with yourself? And then, are you willing to follow up with whatever you tell yourself? Or are you going to continue to just numb yourself and pass the time and tell yourself that you'll get to it tomorrow? And then if you work out today and you're sore, or you do the extra work and you're tired tomorrow and you're sore tomorrow, are you willing to do it day in and day out? It takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot in order to get to where you want to go. And one thing that I always think about, actually, I want to share this too, is if you're watching, if you have goals or aspiration to be an interior decorator, and you're constantly watching vlogs, or you're constantly watching reels and TikToks on other interior decorators, you're watching somebody else do the work. If you want to be a gamer and you're constantly watching Twitch, and you're constantly watching other gamers game, you're watching them do what you want to do. Okay, I'm gonna go on. If you want to be a dancer and you're watching other dancers on all their videos, but you're not in the studio and you're not putting in the work, that's what I'm referring to. You're watching other people work while they're making money off of you watching them. Do the work yourself. You'll receive the internal benefit of that internal gratification of scratching some goals off your list, and you'll eventually, if you put the work in and the time in, you'll eventually receive the external benefit of that revenue, which we all want, and that's motivating in itself as well. So again, thank you for spending some time with me today. We appreciate all of you. And like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything that you want me to talk on or speak on, or you think that is important for me to cover, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and leave it in the comment section. We appreciate all of you, and have a great day. So the thing about self-motivation is you can motivate yourself as much as you want to, but the moral of the story is you can't do it by yourself. So I'm blessed that although I motivated myself to get up this morning and stretch and go for that run, my wife got up and became my videographer, and later will become my editor. Little does she know, or she very well knows. And at the moment, she's my chef. And we continue to push one another and help one another. And the reality is that for those of you who think that you can do it by yourself, you can't. Because whether you're driving to the track and you don't think about it, but when you're in that vehicle that you're driving to the track, if it wasn't for the person who made the vehicle, if it wasn't for the people who did the work on the body of the vehicle and the tires and the engine and so on and so forth, if it wasn't for the electrician that put the lights inside of that dealership or manufacturing plant in order to build that vehicle, if it wasn't for the people who paved the track or paved the concrete on the sidewalk that you're running on, if it wasn't for the people who put all the stuff together at the fitness gym that you're going to, the fitness center that you're going to, if it wasn't for all of these different people, you wouldn't be able to do what you want to do. You wouldn't be able to achieve your goals. So the key, another key, is communication, and don't isolate yourself from the community. Stay motivated, stay encouraged, continue to grow and develop.
I got gems, gems, gems. I got gems.